Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got a real jam going down, so welcome to the Space Jam. Alright, released in 1996, Space Jam is what you get when the best of the NBA is combined with the best of the Looney Tunes. Though it received mixed reviews from critics, the film has gone on to become a classic in the eyes of those who watched it as children. With a sequel coming soon starring LeBron James, the time is right to rewind that old VHS tape and go back to where it all began. Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Space Jam: Good to Evil. For this list, we'll be starting off with the best of the best and working our way down to the villainous. These characters are good. Adding another championship to his name, the gold medal of good goes to Michael Jordan, or the fictional version of Michael Jordan. And I cannot stress fictional enough. MJ earns this spot because of his everyman persona. He's very down to earth and puts his family above everything else. He loves spending time with his kids and actually takes up baseball for a time to make his father proud. Michael is a straight man to the film's cast of characters. We're not just talking about the Looney Tunes characters when we say this. Even among many of the live-action characters, he's one of the more sane ones. Jordan is also helpful to those in need. He helps comfort his children, and he of course helps the Looney Tunes in a game of basketball against the Monstars. While he is initially skeptical of helping the Looney Tunes, the Monstars bullying Tweety Bird encourages him to help out. What gets Michael the top spot, however, is his selflessness. Near the end of the film, a change is made to the terms of the game. If the Toon Squad wins, the Monstars will give up their powers. However, if the Monstars win, it will be Michael Jordan who will be taken to Moron Mountain, not the Looney Tunes. Jordan accepts the deal and shows little qualm about it. Even in the toughest situations, Jordan will put the well-being of his family and friends before his own. Being the most sane and selfless character in the cast, we had no choice but to put Michael Jordan as our number one. The silver medal of good goes to Bugs Bunny, the icon of the Looney Tunes franchise. Bugs can be seen as the most level-headed of his cartoon companions. He's also the leader of the Toon Squad alongside Jordan. We rank Bugs higher than his pals because of not just these reasons, but also because he takes the most active role of any of the Looney Tunes featured in the film. He seeks out Michael Jordan for help, gets his gear, and informs Michael that he can use cartoon physics, just like his teammates. This action allows Michael Jordan to win the game. Bugs also has a major crush on Lola Bunny, and will do anything to keep her safe. When the game happens, he saves her from getting flopped on by a Monstar, getting himself squashed in the process. He's a force for good in a way that the others aren't. Bugs can be seen as the leader of the Looney Tunes. He's also the one they listen to, which shows that he's the most respected and appreciated of the cast. Bugs is a good-natured bunny who can be a friend to anyone, whether they be animated or live action. He gets along with the Monstars at the end of the film, as he and the others allow them to stay in their dimension. All these reasons make him the winner of our silver medal. The bronze medal goes to the character who has an uncomfortable amount of fan art on the internet, Lola Bunny. Lola stands out from the other Looney Tunes characters because she never appeared in any of the cartoons prior. This movie was her debut in the Looney Tunes franchise. However, that's not the only thing that makes Lola stand out from the others. She's also a great basketball player, and the only one of the Looney Tunes to have any experience playing the sport. This makes her helpful to the team, and she's one of the few members of the cast to always be in the game, further showing her skill in the sport. Helping the Toon Squad win the game is a big reason she's this high up on the list. But skills aren't everything. Personality is important too, and Lola is one of the nicer Looney Tunes. She's nowhere near as loony as her friends, and she's a voice of reason for the team. Lola's abilities and level-headed personality make her a worthy addition to anybody's basketball team. The next spot goes to the assistant of Michael Jordan, Stan. He tries to do what is best for Michael Jordan and wants to be of service. Stan will drive Michael home, accompany him to golfing sessions, and do whatever he thinks will make him happy. Stan is an eccentric figure, even compared to some of the Looney Tunes. When Michael is sucked into the Looney Tunes world through a hole, Stan spends the rest of the day digging for him. He even goes well into the night. While he may just seem like a quirky fan of MJ, Stan does good deeds. We've discussed his loyalty to Michael, but we haven't explored how far his help goes. He learns the Monstars have stolen the talent of NBA players, which he then relays to Jordan. When the Toon Squad is in need of a player near the end of the big game, he comes in to help. While he doesn't last long against the Monstars, he really will do anything to help his friend. His injuries lead Michael to have a great discovery: that humans actually have the abilities of cartoon characters. This realization leads to the Toon Squad's victory over their opposition. Stan is far from the most athletic or intelligent character in the film's cast, but he has a bigger heart than most. Next is Tweety Bird. Tweety in this film is similar to the majority of his other incarnations. Sweet, calm, and gentle. His mind is clearer than other characters, and is a good team player. He's on good terms with the others in the film, except for Sylvester, of course. He may also be one of the more formidable characters on the Toon Squad. When his button gets pressed by the Monstars, he loses his cool and unleashes his karate skills. He demolishes them, making him possibly the strongest member of the whole team. Tweety is a more competent player than many of his teammates. He believes that the Monstars will wish they'd never mess with them, a large shift from other Looney Tunes who think the game is a lost cause. Next, we have Porky Pig. Porky is undoubtedly one of the kindest Looney Tunes, and always tries to be a good voice within the cast. He holds a meeting with all the other Looney Tunes in the opening of the film, as they figure out what to do about the Nerdlucks. Besides that, he helps when creating the challenge the Nerdlucks have to partake in, and obviously he's a member of the Toon Squad. Unfortunately, there are several elements to Porky's personality that cost him a higher spot. He's easily scared, most notably when the Nerdlucks transform into the Monstars. He becomes deathly afraid of them, even to the point of wetting himself. During the game, he believes the squad should forfeit, feeling there's no chance they could possibly defeat the Monstars. Also, he's far from the greatest member of the Toon Squad. By the end of the game, Porky only scores 1 basket. Porky's more friendly than a lot of his friends, but his cowardly attitude unfortunately cost him a higher spot on our list. Our next pick goes to a comedy legend, Bill Murray. Fun fact: Murray's appearance at the end of the film was not originally in the script. Bill Murray only wanted to show up in the climax after becoming fascinated by the film's blend of animation and live action. In the movies universe, Bill Murray's a good friend to Michael Jordan. When the NBA starts losing players, Murray believes he would make a good pick to fill the void. While this seems like bragging, his appearance in the film's final moments might prove that he wasn't exaggerating. He appears during a crucial time in the game, as the Toon Squad are in dire need of a 5th player. As he arrives, he helps organize a team, and they begin formulating a strategy to take the Monstars down. His strategy partly helps the team finally gain the upper hand and win the game. Murray does well in times of pressure, as his decision-making skills are impressive. Besides being a good player, Bill is a good cheerleader for the other team members. He continually gives them words of encouragement and has confidence in them. Overall, Bill Murray makes for a great member of the Toon Squad. One can only hope he'll be back to help out in the sequel. We're finishing off the good category with Daffy Duck. If you're one of the 5 people who have never seen a Looney Tunes cartoon before, Daffy's first moments in this film will perfectly tell you what his personality is about. As the Looney Tunes hold a union meeting, Daffy pushes and shoves everyone out of his way. He refers to himself as the top duck, highlighting his egotistical nature. In fact, he's rude to everyone. Predictably, he clashes with Bugs a lot. When they travel to the real world in search of MJ's gear, Daffy almost jeopardizes the mission when he tries to get Bugs to follow him into their house. In actuality, this is the house to the family dog, who proceeds to make a mess out of Daffy. Daffy also calls Stan a dork, and he really doesn't praise anyone. He's a pessimist too. When the game takes place, Daffy spends most of it believing defeat is inevitable. He's even unpopular among the audience, who are silent during his entrance. Despite all these negative traits, Daffy is helpful enough to keep him in this tier. While he doesn't believe they'll win, he tries his best during the game. He's also one of the few to see the match through to the end. Daffy is a rude and grumpy duck, but there's still plenty of bravery inside him, getting him the last spot on our good list. Now we move on to the characters who are not exactly good, but are definitely not evil either. This is the gray area. Starting things off, we have Elmer Fudd. Elmer has some good things going for him. As one of the more prominent Looney Tunes featured in the film, he helps a little bit. He actually scores. Unfortunately, Elmer has a lot of things that hold him back from being in the good category. Elmer is one of the few straightforward antagonists in the Looney Tunes cartoons. He is obsessed with hunting down Bugs Bunny, which we see in the opening of this film. While he puts his differences aside and help Bugs and company, this is not to last. As soon as the credits roll, Elmer will be back to his old mischievous ways. On top of that, he can be cowardly, as he's one of the several players in the Toon Squad to expect defeat by the Monstars. While Elmer's nastier side prevents him from being in the good area, his willingness to help the rest of the cast is still enough to keep us from calling him evil. Besides, he gave us the amazing Pulp Fiction reference. How can we call him evil after that? In the middle of the gray area, we have Marvin the Martian. Marvin sits in the middle of this area because he is neutral. He has no allegiance to either the Toon Squad or the Monstars. This makes sense considering he's both a cartoon and an alien. When the big game happens, he acts as the referee. Marvin's tenure as a referee is another reason we're putting him here. Why? Well, to put it mildly, Marvin is an awful referee. Throughout the game, utter chaos is happening. Guns are going off, players are attacking each other, and even Granny gets crushed. Yet through all this, he never stops the game to call any fouls. A referee has to keep the game safe and fair, a task Marvin completely fails at. Marvin even adds to the pandemonium. When he calls halftime, he shoots a laser gun as a signal. It just so happens that the blast goes right through Sylvester, putting a giant hole in his chest. While Marvin means well, his incompetence seals his fate into the gray area. Wrapping up the gray area is Sylvester. He's more of a hindrance than a helper. Sylvester is best known for his obsession with Tweety Bird, a character trait that even seeps its way into the basketball game. During the game, there's a point where he seems more interested in eating Tweety than helping his team win. His goal of trying to apprehend Tweety clouds his judgment. When the Looney Tunes begin to devise a plan to get rid of the Nerdlucks, Sylvester's mind wanders toward making a plan to catch Tweety instead. Besides a failure to get his priorities straight, Sylvester is hardly the bravest of the Toon Squad. He's one of the characters who is terrified of the Monstars. In addition, he's another Looney Tune who feels it is best to forfeit. Hey, if all the Looney Tunes are stuck on another planet, maybe he thinks he'll give him the chance to take out Tweety. Although Marvin creates more chaos on the court, Sylvester is ranked higher because his actions have more of an impact on the team. He spends much of his time trying to fill his stomach, and that puts him in our gray area. This may be one character who'd be better off sitting on the sidelines. Now, we introduce you to the most dangerous characters a cartoon could ever encounter. These characters are evil. First, we have the monstrous Monstars. These aliens start off as the Nerdlucks, a group of 5 tiny aliens that work for Mr. Swackhammer. After the Looney Tunes challenge them to a game of basketball, they rush out to learn what the sport is. After realizing they have a major size disadvantage, the Nerdlucks begin to steal the talent out of the NBA's top performers. The talent turns them into the giant and terrifying Monstars, who give the Looney Tunes a run for their money. The Monstars are here because they are evil. Their stealing of players' talents show that they will do whatever needs to be done to please their boss. With this talent, they're able to wipe the floor with the Toon Squad. By the end of the game, they put a majority of the Looney Tunes out of commission. Many of them are covered in bandages, and poor Tweety Bird resides in an iron lung. Despite chaos, there are a few aspects that pull them away from getting first place. They are far from the sharpest tools in the shed. When they are in Nerdluck form, Bugs makes up the rule that they must compete in a challenge before they're abducted. Although it's obvious that the rule was made up on the spot, they still fall for it. After becoming the Monstars, they don't get any smarter. We can only assume intelligence wasn't included in the player's talent. We must also take into account their redemption. As the game ends and the Toon Squad wins, Jordan doesn't understand why they continue to listen to their abusive boss. With their newfound sense of height, they dispose of the CEO. With him out of the way, they want to join the Looney Tunes in their dimension, even after all the trouble they gave them. The Looney Tunes are accepting of them, especially after seeing them prove how loony they are. Even though the Monstars are one squarey quintuplet, their status as henchmen only gets them second place in the game of villainy. The award for most evil goes to Mr. Swackhammer, a Danny DeVito voiced alien. Swackhammer is a character that puts the plot of the film into motion. His theme park, Moron Mountain, has begun to see a decline, forcing him to find new ways to generate business. He soon learns of the Looney Tunes, who he feels would make great comedic acts for Moron Mountain. He sends the Nerdluck, setting off the events that will culminate in a game between the Monstars and the Toon Squad. Swackhammer is an abusive boss. He'll have the Nerdluck do anything and everything for him, from getting him food to cleaning his sandals. We already covered how unkind he is to the Nerdluck, but he's this way to everyone. When Marvin calls time, he furiously grabs him, demanding he get out of his sight. Swackhammer is an opportunistic villain. When he realizes Michael Jordan is the star player of the Toon Squad, he makes an amendment to his deal. In this new agreement, if the Monstars win, they will take Jordan to Moron Mountain instead of the Looney Tunes. In the end, the Toon Squad win, prompting Swackhammer to send a flurry of insults toward the Nerdluck. even the Nerdluck begin to see how nasty of a person he is and break free from his leadership. While his employees show remorse for their actions, Swackhammer doesn't. This, coupled with his bossy and abusive personality, make him the perfect choice for the most evil character of the movie. If you're struggling to find the best vacation destination this year, we can only tell you one thing: don't go to Moron Mountain. Alright, that's all, folks! What do you think? Do you agree with our list, or is your list different? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell and check out our Good to Evil playlist, where we analyze the morality of the characters from your favorite cartoons, shows, and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.